about this at all.
The money printer is now running and printing money, so no, not gonna complain. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I would advise Alex just to leave it as is. He made one heck of a code, and we're in it. Well, I mean, there's way too many of us that is enjoying this code, that is loving what we have found in this ecosystem. And if, yeah, I mean, if it's running, if it ain't broke, if it can't be, hacked or anything, leave it alone. I mean, forking it, like he was saying earlier, yeah, that would add a little bit more complexity, and that would just make it that much more difficult to onboard. I've actually got lucky and have been able to onboard a couple people into this, and adding that much more complexity to it would just make it even more difficult.
Well, it's been a good chat. Gotta hit the sheets for tonight. I'll see y'all later.
Later, bro.
See you.
I need Executioner in here talking people to sleep so I can stay up and win these auctions.
Hey, just turn on a recording right now and loop it. I
You
know
know
it's
what's
remind.
good?
Oh,
I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say, you know what's good is the Asian market isn't really into this ecosystem very much. So, like I just remember when I was into all these other shit coins out there on centralized exchanges. Sometimes I'd go to sleep. I'd stay up till like midnight, 1 o'clock sometimes. But man, I'd wake up and my fucking bags are wrecked because the Asian market is just fucking raping me in my sleep.
We just got to worry about those Aussies and the Brits, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the Aussies are a problem.
Damn Aussies.
They're into this shit too. They're heavily into this shit. And those
Especially in our
Zealanders and
ecosystem,
Kiwis.
they're all over the place, man. Everywhere you look.
I know. Like I've been trying to work on my accent. I've been listening to them so much. You'd think I'd pick it up a little better.
Love hearing Haunted say you're gonna
Hey,
be rich, boy.
Isn't he like South African or some shit? Or no, I'm confusing. That's what's his name? Silver the Antidote. I think is South African.
I think you're right.
no, he's British.
Is he British? Really?
Yeah, he's just lived other places, so he's got a bit of a twang. But yeah, he's British.
He's got a weird accent to me. It's not. It doesn't sound like normal British to me. Not the Queen's English.
Yeah, he's just lived like a few other places, so he's got a bit of a spin on it. But like you can hear it, like when he's speaking, you can hear it, But it's just like, yeah. I originally thought he was maybe like half Dutch or something, so he's got a bit of a, you know.
Hey, can I ask somebody a question?
Of course.
If anyone knows. Cool, cool. Didn't want to interrupt. Um, I was wondering, so when you try to click like action on the auction, right? And then you click start auction. So do you have to wait until it like goes to 6,000 or whatever when it says building transaction?
Yeah, you have to wait for it to index. It takes a second for it to get through like the first 1,000 or two, and then it goes pretty quickly. If it doesn't go through, try refreshing it and doing it again, or if not, refresh it and go to a different one and try it.
Okay, cool. So like once I wait it out or whatever, then does it come up and I don't have to do it again or like what happens after that?
Once it comes up, then you'll actually another button will click up down the bottom right. You'll click on it, and then it'll pop up the prompt in MetaMask, and then you can complete everything like a normal transaction.
Okay, thanks. Do I get to see if anybody's already bid on it, or do any of the
If it,
ones that say
if it,
now?
no,
Yeah.
if it says now and actions and lets you bid on it, then nobody else has bid on it. Where unless somebody else tries to bid on it at the same time as you, then that's why if it's indexing and it doesn't go through and just restarts again, that means somebody else probably already bid on it. Try to refresh and go on to a different one probably.
Okay. How long are the auctions?
24 hours is the start timer. And then depending on how many people bid on it, it can go back and forth in 5-minute increments after that.
So each auction's only 24 hours?
Yeah, you can see there's a start timer on all of them. So if you scroll down on the bottom of the page, you'll see the soonest ones are coming up in about 17 hours. And then it shows you the time of every single one. It goes in the least amount of time to the greatest in consecutive order then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do see that. I didn't scroll all the way down yet. I literally just started looking at this, but
they're all going off in the order that they were started in. So that way, whatever's finishing first, where kind of like on eBay, when you go to ending soonest and pop up, so that way you can see which ones are coming up the quickest. That's how it's automatically populated.
nice. Okay.
And when you bid, sorry guys, if I may, when you bid, are you placing the maximum amount that you want to bid? Like for instance, if there's current bid is 1 million and your maximum that you're willing to pay is, let's say, 3 million, do you key that in, and just if the other person maximum bid was, I mean, 1.5?
It only goes one bid at a time. So whatever the current bid that you see on there, that's what it is. So if you place a bid, you only have to bid one hedron more than whatever the current bid is. So you could add one more, or you could add 1 billion more. That's at your discretion and whatever you type in.
But in that case, that becomes your bid, and that's the current bid right now. Let's say if it's 1 million, you put 3, that becomes the bid right now, 3 million. And if somebody wants to outbid you,
So-
they just
Yeah, and if somebody outbids you, then they pay the gas costs, and whatever hedron you bid goes back to your wallet, and you're able to bid with it again then.
okay. But there isn't such a thing like with eBay with the maximum bid, where there is a current bid and you can key in a maximum that you're willing to pick.
No, there's
No.
no buy it now feature on this. It's just you keep bidding until somebody says I quit and you win.
No, I haven't tested it yet, but I'm pretty sure you can bid over the top of yourself if you wanted to. So, like, let's just say you wanted to bid. There's no reason to do that though. So it's stupid to even. I mean, it's an option, I think.
But
Go ahead and
if you
just
thought
go through it.
if you kept going back and forth, with somebody in little increments, and then you had just bid, but you decided no, I want to blow this guy out of the water, you could bid over top of yourself and put in a lot higher price.
Right, right. Or you could just do that. If let's just say it's getting down to the wire, or let's say you got to go to bed, you could just bid over the top of yourself and just give yourself more buffer. Hopefully, nobody fucks with it. That's a possibility, I suppose, too.
Yeah, that'd be like on eBay when you put in a max bid, what you're willing to go up to max price. So you put that in and it auto bids up to that price, where in this case, it would just put the price straight up there and you hope nobody goes over you, where you're showing your hand ahead of time, where on eBay, it kind of goes back and forth one at a time, depending on what other people have put in, where this, it would just put it all out up front.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
It's blockchain. There's no hiding nothing. Cards are on the table.
Can you see how many people have bid?
Yeah, if you want to look at the Block Explorer and do crazy
Oh,
analysis, but that ain't my
no.
style. That's way too much
Yeah,
work.
I don't want to do that.
And do you guys know what happens when somebody out, for instance, outbids you? I mean, it goes in. How
Basically,
are
it
you
turns
being
from
notified that?
green to red. It'll turn from green to red, and all of a sudden you'll just have your balance back into your wallet.
That's
Yeah,
what I
it'll just
every
go at the
bid I do.
top.
I kind of keep track of just the top of the dashboard right there, and you could tell if one of them goes back in, or it's just an easy way to tell without scrolling through all the bids.
Exactly. Yeah, I just scroll to the top, look at my balance, see if I got money coming back or Hedron coming back. Then I know I should check on my shit again.
It's also
So
goes
in order,
into it's some of the gameplay though that goes into auctions where it's like we're only in the first few hours of it. Do you want to keep bidding, bidding, bidding back and forth when you have 24 hours to wait on it at first, where it's you're only bidding up the price against yourself if you really want that one. So it's actually better to wait, especially if you started one, and just let it sit there until 23 hours go by.
I mean, I want the
so
system to burn as much Hedron as possible, so I'm gonna keep fucking around. You know what I mean? Like even if it, even if I lose it, it don't matter to me.
On certain ones, but then maybe on other ones not. This is fun. There's going to be a lot of games played.
I'm just hoping for everybody to get tired and just give up. That's what I'm hoping.
Hey guys, can you help me with something here? If I have a Hedron stake that's like coming or it's ending in a couple of hours, if I unstake the Hedron, say at just past 00 UTC to participate in some of the bids, but then I restake that before the rollover to the next day, I'll still get the yield in the Hedron pool, right?
So did you have a 90-day stake to start with?
Yeah, but it was slightly delayed, like I started it 2 or 3 days later. So it's coming to an end in like 2 days. The only thing is I want to try and bid on some of the HSIs, but at the same time I don't want to miss out on the yield that's going to hit the Hedron pool. So if I do say it gets to like 1 a.m. UTC, I unstake, I make some bids, and then say that night at maybe, I don't know, 20, or let's say an hour before, or 11 p.m. UTC, if I restake.
You have 23 hours. So you get your yield, you unstake it, you use your Hedron, whatever you want to use. You have 23 hours until you need to make another action and actually restake it again before you would actually lose yield.
Got it. Okay.
And the penalty, I think I asked earlier, it was like maybe almost 2% for a day early. So it's like, isn't it that bad? You know what I mean? I don't know.
It would be a day early would be 1%, 2 days early would be 2%, 3 days early would be 3%.
Okay, cool.
Also, something to consider, Emilio, is like there's going to be more auctions going here in 2 days and 3 days. So you may be fine to just hold off and just do them
Don't
those
end stake
days.
early, man. Hold off until your stake's done. Unstake it. Take out whatever amount of Hedron that you want to use. Set a designated amount for the auctions. So that way you're not going over or using more than you need to. Stake the rest of it and keep the rest liquid and use it for the auctions. If you don't use the rest of it in the auctions, add it to your stake. You'll only be a couple days behind on your stake or whatever amount of days you didn't participate in the auction. So it's not a big loss then.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Is there a way to like filter by like key drop bonus or T-share amount, anything like that? Like just like how you could kind of organize things, or is it just all kind of the way it is on the user interface?
Yeah, for now you're just looking at it update as the time ticks away.
Okay.
You notice it goes by time.
Yeah.
That might be something that can be implemented later into the UI, but for now it's
Mhm.
just kind of. He did add the token IDs, which is kind of nice if you wanted to target specific ones, maybe the ones you gave up for your HSI buyback or something. But yeah, I'm actually doing pretty good just keeping track by just remembering the amount, of hex. I look at the hex, how much it is. That's or T
Yeah.
shares. Sometimes I'll just look at T shares. It's a lot easier that way. And really, they're all fucking the same, in my opinion. Like trying to target your old one is just ridiculous.
Someone
If
just
if it's helpful to you to know that to have a bunch of different sort mechanisms on it causes just a lot of strain on the front end. So calculably, the strain on the front end has an indifference between your internet provider and the speed in which you have. So when you're having a competition with people, you need to minimize it as much as possible. So that way, the 5-minute counters at the end, the 5-minute ticker at the end. That way, nobody has like such a shitty internet connection that 5 minutes gives them enough of time that they don't lose an advantage, right, to be able to make the bid. So I think Alex has done it beautifully in a way that facilitates maybe a 20-second time difference between people. Good to bad internet connections. So that's pretty good. And the way that they're sorted right now is the ones that haven't been started on their 24-hour timers right now are they're sorted right now by the Hedron bonus, the 10x bonus, if that helps you. They are sorted already in a certain way. So if you know what the sort means, that helps. And then in the ones that are active, they're sorted by the amount of time that's left in them. The less amount of time are towards the top. So anyway, like I said, I'm kind of here, but I'm not. Just wanted to say that. You guys can go back to talking about it just so you have an understanding.
Cool. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Too many features could like bog down, I guess, the UI. It makes sense. So if you want to initiate like one of these stakes, like when it does the indexing for whatever, like 6,000, it goes to 6,000. So that as soon as that 6,000 hits, do you have to place a bid in order to send it to the auction, or what happens? Is that like how all these already started?
You have to complete the transaction. So once it's done indexing, it'll pop up a new button that was grayed out. Click it, and then you complete the transaction. It should pop open a MetaMask, and then complete transaction.
Okay, and the completing transaction, that's not a bid. That's just you sending it to the auction, and then you bid another transaction, or
no? That's when if you're starting the auction. That's how you complete the action of starting the auction.
Is placing the bid. So when you start the auction, you place a bid, right? Or no?
Like the way that it works is like let's imagine that you actually did use the borrow function as an individual, and you know that if you miss 3 payment windows, that after the very first one, you're going to go on that auction first page it's going to default in 60 days, and then the counter goes for the next 60 days. If that person doesn't make a payment, then forever, not forever, but as long as they don't make a payment, then their HSI is going to be sitting on that first window and have this countdown for days until they make their payment on it. And if they don't, then the whole community is going to know that this countdown's happening. So it may even come to a point where all the way until there's 1 day left on it, and you're going to have this option to liquidate it, right? But as an individual, you may like find a grace period where people aren't paying any attention to that. And it may go 91, 92, 93 days because nobody actually called the function to actually liquidate the HSI, the community, to do it, right? That is the function in how it's known that you could use it, so that the borrower may get a grace period. However, if they just make one payment, then all of a sudden they disappear off the list, right? Like they're not on that list again. And if they go miss another payment, then it'll start at a 60-day countdown for them as an individual. The way that we're getting it now is from this buyback function is throwing all these things in there, and you don't understand the core values of what the mechanics of it used to be and why it works the way it does, so that when it comes to the auctions, it's going to behave like a particular way, right? So yeah, when you go in there on the very first window, there's two different functions happening here, where one is the bid start function, right? Like it is the liquidation function. The starting of the bidding is the liquidation occurring, and which starts the 24-hour period. Any bids that happen after that, I guess
It's called the just auction bid. After that, just auction bid.
Right. Well, it doesn't make sense to actually be bidding on any of them until closer towards the end period of the 24 hours, in my opinion.
But in order to send it to liquidation, you have to place a starting bid, right?
Well, yeah, we're talking like bidding is after it's been started, and liquidation is the action of actually liquidating the HSI in the first place, right? Which is what's happening now. A lot of late HSIs are getting liquidated right now, where people are making the very first bid, which brings those HSIs back to net neutral again. Because what happened when they used that buyback function for those HSIs, the contract, when it got it, immediately borrowed all the hedron that it could through the borrowing function, and then paid it the next day to the Icosa stakers. That's why there's hedron in those pools in the first place. So now you're at a net negative, right, for the next 90 days. You just know that the borrowers are going to make a payment, and it's always just going to be on this list, right? That's why the liquidations didn't work for the last 60 days on the other one, and there needed to be a new DAP in the first place, because we kind of broke it, right? There's like a lot going on there, right, which we're absorbing right now. So there's a lot going on, and just got to pay attention to the end times. That's probably the most important thing of the whole shebang here, is paying attention to the auction end timers, and realize that 600, almost 700 of them have been started with timers that are coming down. That means they're going to start having to have actual bidding going on with them. For 8 hours, it took 700 of them to go through. So that's 700 individual competitions that are going to happen within the first 8 hours of the conclusions of these things, which starts in
two work shifts from now. In 16 hours and 42 minutes, we start on the first countdowns.
Yeah, right. 16 hours, 42 minutes. Yep. And so we know that for the 8 hours after that starts, which now it's, maybe people are asleep right now and they're still coming through. So those, and I say coming through, meaning that they're getting liquidations are still occurring, and that number is getting larger. So if this continues to keep happening for 24 hours, it's like people are going to be particularly busy for the next couple of days. And the stakers are going to get pretty significantly rewarded in the end result, because I think that there was a gentleman that came in like earlier in the day and was like, off the very first auctions for their minimum bids, just the first ones, that was like 10 billion hedron that's already going to be burned when the conclusion happens for the first 50. 10 billion, and there's 700 and some odd now. So that's nice, right? That's particularly nice. Anyway, like I said, I'm supposed to be AFK. Anyway, continue on.
appreciate your input.
Guys, can somebody say whether it's advantageous for someone with not a very big bag of Hedron, let's say under 1 billion, to be staking? I know that we cannot calculate the yield and all of it. Has anybody been able to make any educated guess, I guess, or has any insight on that? I mean, considering
compared to holding it just liquid, if you're not planning on selling or depending on your time horizon, I mean, staking seems like a no-brainer if you're just going to be holding it anyways.
Huh.
So
You know, one
so
thing
if
too
you
that I consider.
if you had been staking half a billion hedron for the last 90 days, you would have got paid out roughly 125 Icosa.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
One thing I didn't consider is when you get paid your gas back, if you get outbid, you're not going to get it back in ETH, right? You're getting it back in Hedron, correct? I'm correct on that, right? I should know this shit.
What was that?
No, the person that overbids you has to pay a higher amount in their Hedron to cover the costs to remint the Hedron that you originally bid back to your wallet again, so you don't have to pay for it. That's it.
Right, but you still got to pay for your original bid, right?
So net positive to the community, because just bidding back and forth actually burns more Hedron.
You'd be out as your original gas cost.
Right.
Really,
And I just been bidding like crazy, like an idiot, and I haven't really been keeping track of my ETH. So I'm like, now I'm looking, I'm like, oh, okay.
However many bids you're doing, it's about $3.19 each right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Is I've been just bidding away and
Go look at your
not really
look at your multi calls and MetaMask account. How many you did? That's how I've been keeping track of my bids.
You're speaking Sputnik to me right now. I don't know what you mean, multi-call.
Go click on transactions, and then it'll show multi-call with Icosa contract as all your last transactions you did, and then count how many there is, and it'll be how many times you bid.
Yeah, I mean, I can see my transactions. All I'm getting at is I'm making it known to other people who may be dum-dums like me to keep track, because you're still gonna use your some gas, making bids stuff. So
Buying the dip on ETH this last week, knowing this was coming.
I'm still waiting for my testnet ETH from Nomad. He owes me a lot. Or testnet
Exchange?
both.
Did you find an exchange that turns that testnet ETH into real ETH?
Did anybody see the FUD about the transactions attempted to filter some of the FTX bullshit to post chain testnet? Anybody see that?
That's not even out yet.
Yeah, I thought it was just crazy weird. I mean, it was like a 8-part write up on some Twitter, some inspector dude. I can't remember what his handle was, but he was like digging into the deep uh, Block Explorer bullshit, and it was supposedly linking all these different things, and one of it linked to the test net. It just didn't make sense to me. Like, if you're gonna try and launder money, what good is it to send it to a test net?
Can't send any real money to a test net in the first place, so that that doesn't make any sense.
Right, exactly.
I saw that and it had me scratching my head.
I mean, to me, it looked like kind of like a hit piece slash, false flag type shit. Any which way they can, man. Like, you watch. I bet you within a couple years, Richard Hart will have some kind of crazy, oh, he's a pedophile or some bullshit. Somebody will come out with some crazy bullshit trying to fucking nail his ass to the wall. As a community, we got to be prepared for that and not ever, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, does he go fucking dress silly and do crazy things? Yeah, sure. But I think we all know he's got his heart's in the right place, you know. So we got to like back him up when that time comes, because I'm sure it'll come. That's how they get you. They'll fucking plant some bullshit at your house or whatever they got to do.
Plant some 17-and-a-half-year-old little blonde girl at your house.
I don't know about a person, but like maybe some fucking questionable fucking videos or some shit.
Man, after seeing all that stuff that came out about what was going on with those guys in FTX and between Sam and there's some weird stuff going on there, man.
Yeah, their symbols alone for Alameda or whatever it's called. It kind of looks like the pedo symbol, the triangle. It's fucking crazy. I mean, I'm super conspiratorial, so like I believe it. I believe that shit for sure. Fuck. Or do they just use that shit as a control measure? Like if you can convince somebody that you, let's just say you're a fucking Bilderberg, fucking Mason, whatever you are, you're fucking 33 degree fucking Illuminati, whatever. You got power somehow over people. You can just like basically you can either wreck their lives or they go along to get along and do whatever they're told. I think that's like half of Hollywood is like that. They're like exposed, so they can live a rich, fruitful life and do fucked up shit, or they can fucking go against the grain and either get killed or their family member get killed or whatever they're using to hold over these people. I should probably buy some more ETH. I wonder which exchange I should trust.
Uniswap.
You buy Ethereum off of Uniswap?
Yeah, with my USDC.
Oh, you're trusting stables? I don't even fuck around with stables.
I have some in DAI and some in USDC just because I don't want to deal with on and off ramp right now after all this crap that's going on. I just put a bunch in and then I don't even want to have to deal with them for a while.
Crypto.com's been pretty decent to me, but I think there's some FUD going around about them right now too.
Yeah, Coinbase has been decent, but I literally leave stuff on there for 30 seconds, man. I send it in. As soon as it's on there, it gets sent right back out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I
Apparently,
had shit on
crypto.com.
Crypto.com for a while just because the card is handy, you know, keeping some cash on the card itself. But that's like, you know, that's fiat essentially. So go ahead.
It's
Sorry,
funny,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm so untrustworthy of the exchanges that I have the cards and I just don't even want to leave anything on there. I haven't even used them yet.
Apparently, crypto.com sent money to the wrong wallet, but they got most of it back. But still, kind of a seems
You get
like
it
what
back.
would seem like they got it back because they sent it to Gate.io, and Gate.io was nice enough to send most of it back. But it's pretty seemingly rookie mistake for a big exchange.
Middleman.
Yeah.
Gate.io is hokey. I mean, I used them for a little bit, for just to get some into some shit coins that you can't find anywhere else. But man, their UI is just hokey. I think they try to do too much too. They got like a fucking chat room if you want to go read Chinese, but it's fucking, it's just too much.
Yeah, I
I,
mean, they sent some of the money back, because like I guess if they'd sent it to a different address, good chance it's not coming back. So
I like the meme with Hexo.
Yeah, that one turned out a little better. He's got a better O face.
Yeah, that just some of the things he said. I like it.
it's crashing pretty hard though. Not to bring up other coins or whatever, but yeah, not looking great.
What is?
uh, Crow.
Oh, Crow. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Uh, I had high hopes for Crow too at one point. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna fucking do good. But what do I fucking know? I was listening to like George, we're all George, and fucking BitBoy and
Mhm.
Altcoin Daily and all those fuckers. I think BitBoy is kind of made up for his faults through this whole thing.
Did the whole Sam thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's seen the light. I think he has. And think about how powerful it would be to have BitBoy and fucking Richard like just together in unison, fucking attacking all the bullshit.
Well, they're pretty good friends, I think. So
I know, but like he still watched BitBoy and he's like, well, I don't endorse it though, like in the back of his mind, he still thinks maybe Hex could be a scam or some shit. You know what I mean? Like he just the way he says
yeah.
it.
Yeah, you're right about everything, but no, I'm not going to tell everyone I'm buying it.
And now he's almost emulating him in a little bit outrageous, way. He's even dressing that way. It's kind of funny.
Like he's starting to copy Richard, you mean like and dress all flashy and whatnot?
Yeah, and like when he exploded on his stream, he was kind of a little bit like Richard. You know what I mean? Like he's the savior.
So was he really trying to make DeFi illegal, like Sam? I know he kind of went behind people's backs, and this whole thing. I mean, he's kind of been misleading, but I'm just curious if he was like, really against the like DeFi or things like that
I think he,
because he was.
I
He
think he was controlled. I think he was exposed to something, and like he basically was used as a maybe even a fall guy or a patsy, maybe.
I think you're giving him too much credit, man.
I think it all come down to the Celsius thing where they lost like $3 million in Celsius. I think he flipped his narrative since then.
Because I know BitBoy was saying like he was trying to make DeFi illegal, or that was a big, you know, theme of his like, you know, case against him or whatever. Not really case, but like his issue, like him taking issue in that video.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the interview Sam had with what's his name? He did kind of expose himself there, like as far as his views. I think he was actually supporting uh regulation, like hard regulation on DeFi.
Bill he was pushing is still getting pushed through the Senate right now. They're still trying to push it through even after all this crap came out because they're just trying to save their own butt. So, yeah, he was definitely pushing because he wanted everything to go through his centralized bull crap and not and make it so DeFi was illegal for United States.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, and
insane.
this just gives him more ammo. That's why I'm saying maybe he's a fucking like a fall guy, you know, set him up to fail, and you know they can use that. as an example of why regulation is needed, quote unquote.
This isn't looking good for them. I mean, the fact that he was Biden's #2 contributor to his campaign, the fact that he's all in with the Democrats, where the girl that he's dating is her dad was the guy from the SEC, Gensler. His professor from MIT is Sam's girlfriend's dad, the CEO of Sam's company. It's just a big circle jerk, man. It's all the whole shit show they had going on. It's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, exactly. And
real.
like the Democrats are fucking winning positions.
Amazing how
So
this thing came out the day
push it through anyway.
after it came after the day after the midterms, though. No, once people find out what was going on and everything else, I mean, it's going to be a big mess, man. Especially after the SEC and Gensler just came after Kim Kardashian over this shit, and there's going to be people filing lawsuits after that guy, and they're going to bury him.
It's just like the Hunter Biden laptop deal. The news of that was just kind of blocked and hidden until after elections. It's just the same thing going on now.
Well, I guess if you want DeFi legal, I would assume that's like everybody in here, being in Hex, Hedron, Icosa, all that, then as long as you didn't lose money on those exchange on FTX or whatever, then I mean, this seems like a good thing, because they were kind of working against certain principles in DeFi, to pass regulation that would make it harder to, keep things the way they are, or at least, keep them compliant,
Best case scenario is Pulse Chain coming out. We get our own fiat on and off ramp for DeFi, and all the exchanges go bankrupt. And then look and see who all the winners are. Then they have no reason to regulate us.
Well, there's still a few people that have something else to say about that, mainly CZ Binance. So before that guy falls and a few of these other people, that won't be happening.
I know Richard's mentioned like the importance of kind of having like lobbyists, out there that actually kind of lobby, for like principles that like we all kind of share as a community, so that like, the right voices get heard, rather than the wrong voices. Like he was even saying on that spaces, like when he did his own spaces, he was saying that, there was pretty much no point in him like sticking around on that big Twitter space that Elon Musk was in, because they were just shilling, crap coins and, you know, pointless NFTs, like the JPEGs, rather than, give him a chance to talk, all that, which is really unfortunate, but that's just the way it is.
It's funny because they even asked if they had anybody interesting in the crowd that they could bring up or with an interesting point of view, which I think Richard definitely would have been an interesting one.
Yeah, he would have dominated, for the most part, I think.
They don't want to get told that Dogecoin is stupid and that their shit is useless. So I can see why they don't bring him up, because they don't want to hear it, whether they know it's right or not. They just got their fingers in their ears.
I mean, Richard
Yeah.
even says Dogecoin has product market fit, but it's just not the best thing out there you can put your money in.
Well, he
When you
also
can't
said
put when you can't put smart contracts onto it and you can't build onto it, I mean, what are you going to do with it? I mean, you can do a simple send to and from. You could sell it, you could buy it, but what else are you going to do with it when you can't build on it?
exactly, yeah. No stable coins,
Yeah.
no activity, and
You have
then
to go off. You have to go off chain to bridge. You have to go off chain to swap. You have to do all this other counterparty risk just to do any of the functions with it, because there's no interoperability with it. Sure, I guess if you wanted to tip with it on Twitter or something and you wanted to tip people with it, it would work for that. Where if you're just sending it to somebody from somebody and that's all you did with it, I mean, yeah, it might have a use case for that. And for Twitter being what it is and being the space it is, I mean, just for a tip on there, it might work out. Who knows? But besides that, I don't see much use for it.
It makes a better currency than the US dollar, and that's about it.
When you're already on a platform that's called Twitter, I mean, what's it matter if you're paying for stuff in Doge? I mean, they're both a couple furry animals. Who cares?
yeah, it's just so lame that they're like, oh yeah, anyone interesting, and then like everybody's like upvoting Richard, and Richard's there, and they're like, oh, nobody, oh, okay, all right, let's give it to this guy who's going to talk about JPEG NFTs. Like, if you think about NFTs and like what Hedron did, I mean, that's like real utility right there, versus these JPEGs.
Nobody knows about lots of NFTs or stuff like that outside of this ecosystem. They try to hide it. They don't want people to know about it. Just like they've been doing the Hex since it's launched.
Guys, when you go to start an auction, it starts to build a transaction. That's really slow. Is that going to happen
Yeah,
for everything?
it's only when you're starting them. You have to let it index like that. When you're going to just do a bid, it doesn't do the same thing. So yeah, it's something you got to do just when you're starting them.
Oh, this thing takes time.
It depends on your internet connection. If you have quick internet, it's not so bad. And if your internet speed is not that good, you might want to just let other people start them, and then you could just do the bid function.
Man, I'm on 1 gig, and this thing's gonna take at least a couple of minutes.
It's the first like 1,000 or 600 goes kind of slow, and then it speeds up after that.
If you're staked in the pools, it ain't really going to matter how long it takes to index. It's just going to cause the yield that you earn to be spread out over multiple days instead of just having a big giant lump sum the first day, I believe. Because the auctions just sit there if they don't ever get bid on, correct?
Yeah, they just sit there until somebody calls the function.
So what it is doing, you know? It's indexing. What is it calculating at that point?
It's
Building
going
up
through.
exactly.
It's going indexing through all the different stakes that are on there, and then after it's done, it'll pop up on the bottom right of the screen. It'll say "Start Bid," and you can click on it.
Yeah, but I guess a little bit more technical. What is it actually doing?
It's making it so instead of it has to do that because otherwise, if you and somebody else bid on the same HSI at the same exact time, it would make it where whoever's transaction got entered first with a higher amount of gas to it would go through and the other transaction would get invalidated on the blockchain, but you wouldn't know it. So you'd get a failed transaction and you'd probably just try again and it would fail again. So you just waste a bunch of gas for no reason. So that's why he built the UI the way he did. So that way it makes this problem doesn't happen. So if it's indexing like that and you try to bid on it and it doesn't let you and it just starts indexing again, it means somebody already beat you to that one and already bid on it.
It saves people gas money, basically. Or it saves people from wasting gas. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, he could have not done that and it could have been where you're just trying to beat somebody else to it, but then there would be a bunch of waste of gas and that would be kind of reckless and careless to the community on his part. So yeah, it looks like an inconvenience and it has to index, but it saves us all from wasting gas for no reason. And we're not Zen.
I thank Alex for everything that he's done. He's made an incredible, incredible code for us to interact with on 2 accounts, and he's making it gas efficient. He's making everything as efficient as possible, and I love him for that. This is awesome.
Yeah, and just seeing the proof of benevolence function being used and the seeding function being used in the contract, and all the different functions are getting used now except for the borrowing function, which if we can get some people to hold the floor price of Hedron up and we can get the price to start pumping on this thing, then we get it to where it's profitable to use that borrow function, then we'll be using this contract to its full potential. So it still has more to go. We still have more to grow. We still have a lot to do, but we're on the right track and we're getting there, man. It's only been a short period of time. So a few years down the road, it's going to be exciting.
A few years down the road, anybody that has a decent amount of hedrons is going to be rich. if it ever does hit its ceiling price.
You gonna be rich, boy.
But yeah, I staked. I had one stake. I staked a while back of a billion hedron. Only it was about 25 days back, and then I know it only has like 74 yielded Icosa. I staked a billion last night on a different wallet, and yeah, one day it got 37. I wasn't for sure what happened until I hopped in this chat. And was the benevolence functions added into the code of heat? It was in the code of hedron before Icosa, wasn't it?
There was a proof of benevolence function in Hedron, but I'm not sure if the Icosa contract added what other additional functions were added. But I know there was definitely one built in the original Hedron contract.
Yeah. Well, I think I was watching a stream on YouTube, them talking about it, saying he put that in the hedron contract in the uh, planning on doing Icosa in the future, anyways. I enjoy seeing my yield double in one day. That's nice.
Yeah, just wait for tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, because I have a feeling it's going to get a lot more exciting.
And that's what I keep telling my onboards.
It's
I got two.
amazing that. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. So speaking of onboard, my mom and brothers and a couple of my friends and some people that I got into Hex, and they got some stakes and stuff. Some of the free stuff that we've got because of that, with Hedron and Icosa now, and just the staking and all the other stuff they're getting from it, it's got them more excited about crypto because of the free stuff they've got than anything they've got to buy from getting into crypto, which I think is amazing. Where them seeing all this extra stuff, it's got them excited and wanting to learn and wanting to figure it out. Where it was like pulling teeth to get them to throw that first money in, but now they're getting all this free stuff to interact with. And their other hex stakes and some of their stuff they first put in, they're kind of locked in and they had that mindset where they weren't touching it. But some of this other stuff that's more liquid or they can move around and play with and learn with, I mean, it's basically free to them. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this, man.
I agree. One of my onboards, I kept begging him to get into it because he would thank me later, and I finally got him to get in with his last $20 into a Watson NFT, and he has thanked me every day. And he's also gotten into Hedron. He called me today to let me know, hey, I just got a 4x in yield today on Hedron pool, and that was the first time I heard about it. So yeah, I get calls every day when something happens.
Oh, if I would have known those Wattses were gonna go to a 3 to 4 X on OpenSea or something, I mean, I would have probably put 3 times the amount I put in there. But yeah, no, it's everything's exceeded whatever expectations that I probably shouldn't even had. But yeah, it's amazing.
I do know with food prices going up and everything going up, and I know it's making it a lot easier to onboard people into crypto, especially when you can tell them and show them proof. Hey, here's how much money I've gained and yielded over this past little bit, even with everything going up. Uh, it does make it a lot easier. I've got a couple more onboards lined up. I know around Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, but yeah, the economy crashing actually makes it easier.
Definitely right now, I know with the rest of the market going down and everything else kind of burning around us, I know showing people the yield I'm making and what I'm doing with this stuff, and this price is staying steady or been going up. It doesn't make it hard.
Are you guys pretty familiar with ETH POW and ETH Bear? Have you played around with it?
Yeah, I played with it some.
What do you think of I don't know if you noticed, but when Richard was on this morning, he was asked about, how he wants to mitigate, stables getting dumped, and I don't know, man. I just wasn't happy with his answer, I guess.
How he said he didn't even look at it or hadn't even analyzed it yet or hadn't even done anything from it at all yet, which it's almost an exact carbon copy of what's going to happen to his shit. Where, and also a lot of things that he said have contradicted, where how he said that people stuff from liquidity pools wouldn't get copied over, but they did. Or a lot of different things that he said wouldn't get copied or wouldn't do this or wouldn't do that, but they did. So I don't know, a lot of stuff kind of, I think, looking at what happened and what played out and what stable coins did and other stuff on those chains, I mean, definitely good to take note of. And I mean, for the people who did take note of it, there's going to be a big advantage.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah, the
you said it perfectly, man.
the V3 pools did get copied over, I believe, over on the ETH POW and ETH Fair. They just you had to have a front
I
end
mean,
built
look,
to access it.
well, and look how hard it was for Alex to build the front end, man. It took him how long to build the front end, and we were up and running and playing on it. Not
It
long.
was like a day.
It only took
Yeah.
him,
It
yeah, take
hours.
him but a few hours.
Yeah, and ETH
Yes.
Fair, they came out with their own or whatever shortly after too. So
Yeah, I mean, if that's how he's explaining it off, where it's just part of the, the prices, that's where it's supposed to be. So people need to arbitrage it. So better to the people who are smart enough to do it, I guess, is what it basically sounded like to me. But
I mean,
the fixer bot can only do so much. It can only harvest so much, and then besides that, it's up to everybody else to get the price set to where they're supposed to be by arbitrage.
I'm interacting more on where I've got more staked over there on ETH POW just because the prices are so low. I'm a whale stake over on Icosa on ETH POW, and I got 10 billion Hedron over there staked, and got some liquid, and watching the prices start to move up, and I'm like, hey, cool.
Yeah, it
It's
was
just fun
pretty
because
green today
the,
for both Fair and POW.
it's just fun because the fees are so cheap, and the stuff was all free copies. So I mean, being able to degen a little bit, and normally everything I've bought on the Ethereum chain, all the Hedron I bought, I've never sold one. I just keep buying it and holding it and staking it. But I mean, over on the other side, I was able to trade it back and forth, and just sell some of the tops, buy some of the dips, and just increase my bag. Where it was definitely fun being able to move around and do some of the stuff with a free copy.
And learned a little bit about liquidity over there, or liquidity providing.
I started right when the chain first started, like on the first day. I opened a liquidity position on it and on Ethereum POW, and I don't know what happened to it. Like I can't even find the position where I had the whole thing show up in my wallet for it and all the other stuff, everything else, and then I couldn't even find it.
What did you use to provide liquidity on?
Hexenhedron.
Through Alex's front end?
Yeah, through the Uniswap front end.
That's weird. I mean, mine copied over from, because I already had liquidity positions open on Ethereum, so it just copied over for me. It's kind of nice.
No, it was weird. I opened a new position like right after the chain opened up, and I was making fees on it. I could see the position, and then I went back to look at it later, and I couldn't find it. It was not in my wallet. Looked it up, and it showed I had no positions open, nothing. And yeah, it was kind of weird, but I just left it alone after that.
Might be a pleasant surprise when you do find it someday.
The V3 contract mints you an NFT that shows your position, doesn't it?
Yep.
Does it show up on computer version of MetaMask? Because I just made a dummy MetaMask to mess around on Ethereum POW, so I sent all my
No,
coins to that.
NFTs only, I've noticed for
Mobile.
me, NFTs don't show up on a desktop or laptop browser MetaMask. It only shows up in the phone app.
Maybe I'll send those dummy keys over to a phone app and try looking at it then and see if I can find it.
Because I know my WhatsApp NFTs don't show up on the computer, but they do on my phone.
Yeah, it's the same thing for the Uni V3 NFTs. That's all they are. They're NFTs.
You can view the NFTs on MetaMask now, though. I can see all my Watsas on there right now on the desktop. They have the new section that says portfolio. You click on that, and then click on NFTs, and they're right there.
The new thing that Ian put on there, I haven't checked it out yet.
Yeah, it's kind of right under where it says assets and activity. It says portfolio site, and you click on that, and then you can actually put in multiple addresses. So if you have, a bunch of different public addresses under one hardware wallet or something, you could populate all of them and then keep track of them in one large portfolio. It's something new MetaMask just added. I think it's still in beta, but they just added it pretty recently.
Oh, that's crazy. It shows like your other chains too.
Yeah, it shows some good analytics on it where it's better than what they were showing before. But yeah, it shows kind of everything that you got on Binance or whatever chains you got it on.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of cool. It doesn't show my poly. I got Polygon check marked, but it doesn't show my NFT. That's weird.
Yeah, some of the coins and some of the stuff doesn't show up, which I know it's still new and they just added it. So, a lot of coins, a lot of stuff doesn't show up, or you have to still go through and manually add them, which you can still do. Just copy paste the addresses and then it'll populate them and show whatever info it has then.
I'm always creeped out when I view my NFTs, because like there's ones that I have no idea how I got them. They just showed up there somehow.
It's just it's the same like a dusting attack, man. Where same thing. I have some in mine also, but I just think of it same thing like a dusting attack. If I didn't buy it or interact with the contract, I'm not touching it.
Yep. On OpenSea, I hide them. That way I don't ever fucking see them and click them or anything.
So I had I never been on Polygon, but I had Polygon show up on my Etherscan, and so I clicked on it and looked, and it was a few different NFTs that got sent. But yeah, it's same crap. People want your money and your tokens that they know are valuable.
I have one issue with a Watson NFT that I sent to my friend. Uh, it uh, still shows up in my mobile app that I still have it, but it don't show up in the Icosa. It doesn't show up on the Icosa front end that I have it, but it for some reason it does in my app, in my MetaMask app.
Does it let you run any functions or do anything with it?
I haven't tried. I didn't really want to try to do. I mean, the only
Try
function I can do with
try
it would be.
try the burn function. Just click on that one and try burn. See if it works.
I'd be afraid I would burn my friend's NFT.
It's worth it a shot. I mean,
Dude,
in the cause of science.
you're terrible.
Just messing with you. Don't burn your friends, Watsa. That thing's worth gold.
Yeah, that's why I haven't interacted with it. I didn't want to onboard him in with a Watson and then say, "Oh, I accidentally burnt your NFT."
I would go with what your MetaMask is saying with Icosa's site and what's on there, because what might be showing on mobile MetaMask might be weird or glitchy or something else. I know I've had balance issues and other things with mobile MetaMask before where things kind of show up weird on the UI. So it might be just go off of what's on the Icosa site.
Yeah, the only time I even access or even use MetaMask on a mobile is just when I'm trying to move money to my bank account. That's about it. Any other time, I don't even have it. I don't even have it on my phone.
I have it on my phone just because I was playing with the Pulse Chain testnet on there. So I just sent a bunch of coins to my dummy wallet and just played with that then. And I don't mind using it for, if I'm out and about or somewhere not with my computer, if I want to buy something, or send money from Coinbase and put it into MetaMask and buy something, and then I send it out right away to one of my other public addresses that goes to a hardware wallet. So that way, it's unprotected for a whole couple of minutes, but it is convenient to have it on there, but minimizing risk and not using it for more than a minute or two.
Yeah, I do the exact same.
So has anybody figured out the poly address yet?
Probably the one that keeps outbidding all these ones I've started, because I'd hope everybody else would be smart enough to wait 23 hours.
Thing is I'm not seeing like an address that's like prevalent. I would think it'd be a prevalent address, you know.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, I've been looking for a pattern or trying to notice multiples where I've noticed my own address multiple times, but not many others.
Maybe we should just be quiet and hope for the best. Like maybe people are just like gonna wait it out to the last minute, and then, dude, I would be happy if I won any of these right now that I got bids on. You know what I mean? Like any of them, I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah, same here, man. So it's gonna be interesting. I know I'm trying to plan it right now. I'm thinking like, all right, should I go to sleep now? No, I'm gonna stay up for a little bit because then I'm gonna sleep in a little tomorrow morning, and then I'll be up and ready to go when auctions are ready to start.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, man. It's almost like, oh man, dude, it's crazy. I'm doing the math in my head, and I'm like, I just, it'd be too good to be true to win all the ones I'm bidding on. You know what I mean? If I won them all, it would be like fucking cloud nine.
I don't have enough Hedron to really do too much bidding myself. I could do some, but I'm kind of in the boat of I think what Executioner or somebody else said earlier that yeah, what if Hedron doubles in price? You know, I watched Hedron pump so hard against Hex before, and it wouldn't surprise me to do it again real soon. So I just got mine staked and earning yield on it. I'm happy.
Yeah, I was almost tempted to just sit out the first day, you know, and not do shit, and maybe not even participate at all. Just leave it staked. But I just kind of changed my mind last minute. I was just like, fuck it.
It's like really the amount of hedron to start and just put a starting bid in isn't that much. So to be able to, I've started 10 of them so far, and it's been about $3 in gas each. So for $30 in gas to start 10 of them for the community and get them going, I'm all in for it. And I don't expect any of those bids to stick, but at least they're started, and we'll go from here.
I also wonder if people are just getting stuck on trying to start a new one at the lowest possible price instead of just moving down to like just to compete in the ones that are already started. Maybe people just give up because they're not getting through for starting them up.
Yeah, I don't know. I noticed like at first they were taking a little bit longer. Some of the last couple I did, they weren't as bad. So maybe not as many people are trying on them, or I don't know. I don't know if it's just people's internet or what. Why? Who knows?
I'm showing 756 down already started, so it's still moving up. It's a little slowed down now. It's also like 2:30 where I'm at, so it's pretty late.
Yeah, it's 12:30 here, so it's getting there. Yeah, the U.S. time zone's definitely winding down, so we should see that Aussie swing start picking up. I don't know. Some of them are pretty small, man. Like some of them, I don't know. They don't. I wouldn't start them.
I mean, so like I have kind of a strategy where if I don't like if I keep getting outbid on the big ones and they're big to me, right? And I just like kind of get discouraged and not even think I'm gonna win anymore. I might just try and snag a bunch of small ones just to do a buyback.
Some of them, like they're. I don't even know if they'd be worth the gas, man. Like some of these have 200 hex or 300 hex. It's like I don't know if it's worth the gas for how many functions you'd have to call because you have to do the end function after you bid. And yeah, I don't know. And then whatever you're gonna do once you transfer it.
Is it even going to be gas efficient to even end the stake when the time comes?
I wouldn't even go that far with any of them. If any of the small ones I get, they just get turned back in. If you're turning it in the Icosa contract, it's pretty cheap.
Just remember, there's also different. Some people just like one T-share is a big win for them. You know what I mean? For a buyback, yeah, you're right though. Like there were super super small ones. It's like, yeah, they're kind of not useful, but they'll sit there until somebody finds it useful because you know maybe Polly will grab them. That could be good for Polly.
Add add 10 or 15 or 20 B shares at a time.
I don't know about that small.
200 hex for 5555 with a 10x bonus on it.
Now I could see if it gets to the point where like so many small ones are clogging it up. Maybe after weeks or months or maybe a year or whatever. If there's just too many of them, somebody's gonna just gobble them all up just to get rid of them, just because it annoys them.
I guess when it's only 166,000 hedron, that's not that much.
Say when the time comes, if hex and hedron does 100 or 1,000x, it would be beneficial to go ahead and make a small bid on them and just get them off of there.
You know what you could do with them? You could just collect them all as HSIs, tokenize them, and then go to the Hex marketplace and just put them all onto one thing or something. They got kind of a weird little thing going on there.
I keep forgetting about that. I need to go check that out more.
Well, you got screen time now, man. I tried to convince Dipcatcher to, instead of diluting people and staking Hedron, they could have staked it over there on Hex Marketplace instead of diluting people over on Icosa community.
I voted twice for that one.
He didn't go for it. I forget what he said. It hasn't proven itself enough. And so there was another reason I can't remember. But it would be kind of cool to like separate it, and then they could go over there, and then they get paid out in ETH over there.
How many days has that marketplace been out?
I think it's a minimum of a year.
How long has Icosa been out?
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
That's what I'm saying. He didn't trust Hex Market to build on it enough, but it's been out about the same amount of time as the Icosa contract. He had no problem building on that.
No, I know.
Not that I think there's anything wrong with it, but it's just funny that they do.
I mean, I don't blame him. I would rather build on top of Alex's thing than Mike's thing. Nothing against Mike, but like he's got a whole team. I don't know, man. Like something about Alex, I just trust the guy a lot, you know? So it's like I'll fucking back up his shit, even if it's fucking Pulse Dogecoin Inu 2, you know?
Seeing what he's doing with that data center and everything else, and being an electrician, I could see all the high power, everything he's running through there, and I'm drooling at it. I would love to go work there, man. It looks really cool.
I wanna be security for Alex when he needs it. I just want to do that.
I'll be an on-call electrician. He might need it.
Maybe we should just set a goal that we're just gonna move to Ohio and work for Alex, and then we'll get our money transmitter license in Ohio, and we'll fucking start our own bank and everything.
Alpha Lock governance stablecoin.
I like it. Where'd you come up with that name?
I can second the electrician part of it because I'm an electrician here also.
What kind of electrical you do?
There's a lot of smart minds in this community, and I love it.
I agree. I mean, it's kind of like when you agree with that comment, it's you're calling yourself smart, but I still agree.
I view myself as smart. I can't say not. I can't say I'm dumb, but I'm smarter than most of the people around me.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I don't think I'm smart compared to a lot of people in the community, but like to normies out in the world I live in, yeah, I'm pretty fucking smart.
I passed the IQ test of Hex, so I'm smarter than the largest majority of the population, I believe.
Well, and if you're understanding Hedron and Icosa, then that's a whole nother level up on that community. So you're doing good, man.
I got lucky and found Hex 2 weeks into getting into crypto, and that was back in February of this year. And when I heard Hedron was coming out and I understood what it was, and it's like, oh wow, it's a B share. Cool. I was all in on it when the price dropped so much. I was like, yeah, people don't know what they're getting rid of.
Yeah, anytime you could get it with 6 zeros and any number, you're doing good. But 6 zeros and a 7 down to 6 zeros and a 2, you're doing real good.
Yeah, I turned I think 100,000 hex into 15 billion hedron at the bottom, and yeah, I've been happy since.
Hedron's the first thing in crypto that I had some actual big gains, and it's like throwing a few $1,000s in at the bottom and then watching it go up, 15x or what. I mean,
Watch it climb up to 50,000. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's also the first thing that I didn't think, oh, this thing's going up, I'm going to sell a whole bunch of it. It's the whole entire time I'm just trying to accumulate and buy more because I can see where it's going.
I was ratio trading hex and hedron all the way to hedron's bottom, and when I seen hedron flip the narrative and start going up, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I got what I want. And I was able to basically could have turned 100,000 hex using ratio trade with hedron, and now I can turn around and trade the hedron for about 1,000,000 hex. I'm happy.
Ah, bummer. I got outbid and to the point where I can't bid over him. That bastard. It's the first one that I encountered that I can't go over the top. It sucks. It's like playing poker and you get not enough chips.
I know, that's what I'm debating right now. Do I unstake or do I not unstake? Get some more chips out.
Yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of HSI or not H. I got a bunch of natives that I got a couple of HSIs too that I could go mint a bunch, but I don't know. Sounds like a lot of work. Or even take advances out on some of my HSIs. I could do that too. That sounds crazy to me right now, though, to do that.
You just go buy some off the market.
Yeah, right at the top. It's probably not the top, but it's the top right at the second.
No, go out to the daily chart. It is not the top.
You're about a 2.5x away from the top. The
No.
potential
I'm
of it.
saying the top. It's the top of what it is for the day. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
yes.
it could go down, but it'll probably just keep going up a little bit anyway.
I kind of expected the price of Hedron to drop going into the auctions, and once the auction started, the price of Hedron would go up, and it is. So the only reason why I don't even want to bid on any of these auctions is because of what the Hedron price can do. That's I'm afraid to actually, you know, trying to win some of the auctions when price of Hedron could, could potentially 2 to 3x and go above the hex price, and then miss out on gains that Hedron could give you.
Depends on the deal you get at the auction, because if you're able to take the stake you get and sell it, and depending how much Icosa you get, if you could swap that for Hedron, or depending how it works out, it just depends on the deal you get, where you got to do math to see if it's going to be worth it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I can see 10x's easy. 10x's, it's like, yeah, it's a better deal right now. But who knows how, it's got another 18 hours here, or 16 and a half hours that all of them could change. Who knows? But right now, the deals are pretty juicy.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's like some of them I got outbid on real quick, and there's still a couple that I did right off the bat, and they haven't even got touched yet, and they're for almost the same amount. So it's kind of weird how, certain ones where I clicked way back through the pages and just started them right away, or I don't know. Who knows why some are getting clicked on and others aren't.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's becoming more and more getting, in started already, and it's probably getting harder and harder to kind of, track them. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for, is that like people just ignore my couple little things over there and just don't worry about those. Go, oh, there's a better one for you. Yeah, go pick that one.
We need what we need to have, Alex, built into this is uh, like a messaging platform so we can message back and forth between people anonymously.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. That's a great idea for sure. I mean,
Kind of like
we kind of,
on B&B pot they're doing it where depending on, you're just doing it by wallet address, so each wallet address you're able to type a message with transactions on there, so people are messaging back and forth on a little chat board, and they're saying stuff, oh nice win, or they talk shit to each other, where but I think that would be great, because you get people going back and forth at it, and it gets heated, or it's pretty interesting.
Kind of like it's just verbal bidding wars.
there'd be dudes doing like handwriting analysis, or how you structure your fucking writing, and be like, I docked this guy. I know who that is.
Like when Jim Rat's on there, I'm sure it's not hard to tell.
Yeah, poor Jimrat got destroyed today by Richard.
He asked for it. I mean, all he had to do is stop talking.
Yeah, and he like beats up himself too. He's like, I'm a retard. I don't know what I'm doing. I need you to help me. I need you. And what, dude? He's helping you. Just shut up.
Yeah, he's got that mouth. He don't know when to shut up, does he?
I, dude, I've had to mute him a couple times in here just because he just starts going off. It is, I can't take it. He was
He's a
defending
Richard
Elon the
woman.
other day. He was just like, I don't know, man. I have a problem with the Elon Musk, so that's my own fucking bias, I guess. But I didn't want to hear it. The thing about it is, this is my critique of Jim Rat. I feel like he always kind of turns it into a story about him, and I don't really have like a problem with Jim Rat at all. Other than that, it always becomes like this weird narcissistic thing. Uh, that's it. That's my only critique.
Yeah, I don't have nothing against him. He's bringing people into the ecosystem and the way he's doing it on YouTube, and he's got a pretty successful YouTube channel. I mean, he's doing more good than bad. But
Yeah.
there's just certain people of the community that he just can't get along with. That's basically all it is.
All you gotta do is make one mistake and you get on Richard's shit list too. You know what I mean? Like you support one project that may be viewed poorly by Richard, and you're up a creek without a paddle, basically. I mean, Richard was pretty rough on everybody today. It seemed he was rough on Brandon too. You know, and Brandon just wanted to know what Richard wants to build on Pulse Chain. What would be a good project for building on Pulse Chain? It was a pretty simple question, and he just like,
Well, that was kind of a hard hit to, all the guys that are building on Pulse Chain and been putting their blood, sweat, and tears into this for, how long now, and to tell him that, he doesn't give a shit about anything getting built on Pulse Chain and nothing matters except for Pulse Chain, Pulse X, and X, where all this other stuff, we don't need any of it to get adoption or anything else, where it's like, I don't know, man. It's, all these other ghost chains out there, it's like, yeah, there's going to be copies that are on it, but, really, I think all these native protocols, are definitely going to bring a lot of adoption and help the chain out.
I think it's a
Plus,
little naive to think that all these Ethereum projects are just going to come over with open arms. That is not going to happen. You know what I mean? I don't think so. I think we're going to
I mean,
have
we
to
might
force a lot of this stuff.
the SHIB community, and there's certain communities that I'm sure will come over, because anywhere they can come over and have something going on, they're going to. But yeah, I don't know, man. Without all these
Yeah,
other guys that are building all this really cool stuff, I mean, it's, yeah, without it, yes, Pulse Chain would do good, but with it, it's a whole lot better.
yeah, I
that's just
agree.
like
And like the projects like
well, that's just
Sandbox and some of them, they're gonna love it for cheaper fees, probably. And big community.
but that's just like Richard saying it one time or another, and I remember hearing him on stream saying, he don't want cheap hex anywhere, and now we got hex on 3 different chains. We're getting ready to have it on the 4th when Pulse Chain launches, and he don't have. I mean, he's just. I understand on a marketing standpoint, he's trying to be biased to his own products, but it's still his product on another chain. I'm surprised he hasn't looked into it to see if, it's safe or promote it, but I'm sure he may once Pulse Chain launches, and everybody's got their copies now, he may look into it and say, yeah, these are okay over here. Go ahead and bump the price then. I really don't know.
Hopefully that conversation sparked an idea in his head to go back and maybe kind of look at what some of the stuff that took place and some of the stuff that happened. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine not watching these different forks play out in real time when you're about to go do the same thing. It seems kind of crazy to say that he hadn't even looked at them or checked it out yet.
You know, and another thing to add to like how he had an animosity to all the projects building for Pulse Chain is like, dude, like most of them did it in like almost like a way to like appeal to like it's got the same color, gradients, and it's got Pulse in front of the name or whatever, whatever the nod is to what he's building, right? It's almost, dude, like that's basically building in his honor, like a little bit anyway. Yeah, is it also just kind of riding the coattails a little bit? Maybe, but like still, eh, I'm not like, I hate shit coins, right? And I hate anything that doesn't have real utility, really. But like, that's my own bias, I guess. But it's like
There's plenty of stuff with there's plenty of stuff with real utility and with actual use case and stuff that we actually need that people are building. So I understand, all the different crappy coins that are out there that you see on Pulse Hot List and everything else where there's a bunch of shit out there, man, but there is some good projects and some good teams out there that are actually working hard to build some good stuff because they care about the community and adoption and getting the word out there and bringing more people in. So, and they're not just staying in the bubble either. Some of these other teams are going out into other communities and other stuff, so we can get some of these other projects and other groups involved with us. Which we need that, man. It's not that's how we're going to grow, is getting other people involved.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
and
Richard's
it does.
kind of been in his own bubble a little bit too long in the
Yeah, and
castle, not talking to the
that's
community.
His
that's what
head's
I was
building
gonna say.
he's building a museum right now for himself.
Yeah, it sounds. I mean, before he was encouraging people to build on it, and trying to bring everybody into it, and it's almost like he's kind of secluded himself with his own projects, and yeah, it's almost like he's just kind of he don't care anymore. He's like he's brushing people off into the garbage. It seems like.
As long as he launches it, I don't care either. Just bring it out in the wild and let it be. Which I have a
Yep,
feeling we're getting
exactly.
close, man, with how these markets are, and that's one snippet that I did catch that he threw in there, which I forget exactly how he worded it, but he did kind of mention in there that he was waiting for his markers or his whatever to see on the chart, and when he does, it'll be time to launch.
He's waiting for that 10K, and he's waiting for that 11K and pray to launch Pulse Chain. Then it's just pray you get pray you're paying attention enough to make some gains.
It's funny how that was the first time I've ever heard him tell people to pull their liquidity today, because I've always kind of heard the narrative of people should just leave it so it doesn't mess things up and this and that, but he did say pull your liquidity, which was something I haven't heard yet. It makes me think that he's definitely going to give some notice before it actually gets pushed out and launched.
And that may have been the notice that we was looking for too,
I think this
without actually giving any expectations.
I think the sec FUD is, or investigation FUD or whatever. It might actually light a fire to crank that fucker out, which is good.
Well, that and everything else burning down all around us. Because, yeah, when everything's burning and laying on the ground, I mean, we rise up out of the ashes and we're the shining light. It'll definitely look good.
Has anybody else heard anything about like the FBI looking into Hex from Hex? You know, some of the influencers on YouTube. Anybody else heard anything about that?
The only thing I heard
Yeah,
today is Maddie Allen's asking for donations.
Because I know I know Maddie Allen got contacted. Trevon got contacted. I don't know if anybody else has or said anything.
Joker.
Well, I hope Pulse Dogecoin supports Maddie Allen because Maddie Allen definitely supported them, having them on 3 times in like 1 week, having during their launch. Even though he flooded the shit out of Hedron, you know. But hey,
He learned he learned from his mistake there, didn't he?
What's he asking for donations for? For lawyer costs or what for?
yeah, I think so. I'm not so sure he learned his lesson because it was less than a month ago he was calling Icosa a mousetrap.
I mean, which is
Look at
weird when Richard even supports. I mean, he doesn't say that he supports, but he's happy about what Hedron has done and supports Alex because Alex makes good code, as he said. Um, and then turn around and you hear Matty Allen saying that about Icosa. Yeah, that's uh, makes me think that Matty ain't paying attention to what even Richard's even saying anymore.
I actually wonder if Richard's gonna if because you know there was a oversight on this code for Icosa. Is Richard gonna shit all over Alex? I don't know. He could. I could see it happening. I wouldn't put it past Richard, to be honest with you.
Either way, I'm still bullish on Hedron and Icosa. I don't know how anybody couldn't be.
I mean, I I could I I think the community will support Alex. You know,
I
regardless
think he
of
has
what Richard
I
says.
think I think he has too big of an ego to come out and say that after he already said it was good. He would make himself look kind of stupid.
I could see Richard using it to his advantage, saying, "See, this is why code takes so long, um, because I make sure it's 100% flawless operation." Blah 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 blah. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I kind of try to. I'm also really conspiratorial, so I just kind of try to think of things people would do. I guess even if it's only in my own imagination. I guess.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. Oh, I mean, I can possibly see Richard doing it, and I can possibly see him not doing it because nobody lost any money from this. It was just an
Good point.
oversight that is, it didn't hurt no one. Everybody's still making gains off, the Hedron and Icosa protocol.
But then you got Goldkey in a vague post, not saying directly what caused his people to lose millions of dollars. You know, I don't know, man. Like that doesn't look good.
I think that doesn't look good on Golke. Not on anybody else, man.
That's
Nobody made
what I'm
him
saying.
build it. Nobody made him shill it. Nobody made him do any of it. So I mean, I think he'll look back and think about this. Maybe it's hard to see it in the moment, but I mean, there's no one they can point the finger at but themselves.
Dude, I 100% agree. I'm just saying, like, that's out on Twitter where Richard dwells. Richard isn't in these telegrams. He's out on Twitter. And the optics on Twitter is way worse than it is in here, only because it's almost impossible to, like, have these conversations on Twitter. Like, maybe you could get on Twitter Spaces, I suppose, but it's kind of, it's hard to, get deep conversation. Like Alex was in here talking for a couple hours, and just Telegram is just a lot easier interface.
Has Richard got on any of his live streams on YouTube and said to interact with any of Golke's codes, or that his stuff checks out, or he likes it and he thinks it's good?
I
Yeah,
think he did
exactly. I
say
mean,
something
that's
about
why.
Maximus when it first come out, but he hasn't really said much since.
Well, I mean, that's why maybe there's a little bit more emotion in Golki. Maybe it could just be something as simple as that. More light shines on Edron, kind of. I don't know. I almost like see it as like the analogy of, like, you got two brothers. One older brother has got, like, his fucking star fucking baseball player, fucking he's got all these trophies and shit. And then the other brother, he's a damn good player, but maybe he just doesn't get the attention, I guess. That's how I kind of see it. Maybe I should make a Jan Brady meme.
But this is the sentiment of the bear market. Everybody's infighting. A lot of people are. So when all the prices are going up, everybody's going to switch narrative and love each other, anyways.
I just think it's kind of silly where, I mean, not only is he fudding his own bags, but you're kind of fudding your whole community's bags that you just had invested into something. So I think there's better ways to handle it. But
I just think it's kind of surprising to hear Richard Fudd his community a little bit when it comes to projects being built on Pulse Chain. I mean, that's he. It's almost like he's even feeling the effects of the bear market.
He might actually be super pissed about the whole um, shit going on around, with Sam Bankman and all that shit. He might be pissed off about that because, like, it hurts a lot of people. I feel like Richard does have some kind of what's it called? He has empathy, I think, for people, and he doesn't really show it all that much, but I think he does, and he sees people getting wrecked, and I, he has empathy, but he also has, like, superhero syndrome where he wants to be the savior, and it probably bothers him that, like, Hex isn't have the adoption he wants and he thinks it deserves, and how I mean I think it deserves it too, obviously, but I don't know.
And
That's just my
I
take
think
on
he
it.
just, I get what you're saying. I think he just hates the fact that he himself is being gate kept from helping people. I think that's kind of the whole point you're getting at.
Yeah, and he gets called a scammer like daily, by fucking dipshits like Kevin, meet Kevin, like dude, dickhead. You don't know shit about crypto, first of all.
But yeah, it's good talking to you, Jawa, and everybody. I'm gonna hop off here. Yeah, it's 3 o'clock here. I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed myself.
Yeah, me too. I'm just kind of eating a midnight or a 3 o'clock in the morning snack, and I gotta get to bed too.
Yeah, I'm plugging in everything and getting ready for the night. Get ready for tomorrow.
You guys have a good night. I'm gonna get out of here too before I say more shit that's gonna be posted on YouTube. I get hated.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of memes the next few weeks.
Probably.
Hey, brother.
My brother. Hey, thanks for talking tonight, because like you got a lot of good insight, man. I like listening to you. You should come in here often.
Oh, I plan. I know a lot of times I've been working and stuff lately, but now I've got some more free time, so I'll definitely be chiming in more.
Cool, bro. We'll talk to you later.